James Corden's Barry Glickman
might just be the most insultingly misguided, offensive, and laughable performance that this reviewer has ever had the squirming misfortune to endure.
Hi everybody, how are you? I hope that you're very, very well. So, let's talk about the prom. Like my last video, I filmed this video the day after the prom came out on Netflix, and then I sat down to edit it and I was like, wow, I hate myself. So I deleted all the footage and I started again. So this morning, I watched the film again for a second time. To be honest, I pretty much have the same opinions as I did last time. They're not the most positive. So if you've come to this video and you love the film and you really don't want to hear any criticism of it, then this might not be the video for you. And you know, it is just my opinion. I know that people get very attached to musicals and things that they love, so I'm not trying to offend anyone, but these are just my thoughts personally. Generally, I thought the film was okay. I actually saw the musical on Broadway at the beginning of 2019 and I really liked it. I didn't love it. I think that there's some like pacing issues. I think that a couple of the songs could very easily be cut. I personally think it could maybe do with being like a 90-minute one-act musical. Going in, I was very excited to watch this musical. I love a musical. I love a good lesbian love story. I love Broadway and I love Ryan Murphy's directing style. So I thought I was gonna love this film and I just thought it was fine. And I do have some very strong opinions about the things that I didn't like, and then the things that I did like, I really enjoyed, if that makes any sense. If you don't know me, by the way, my name is Amy. I make a lot of theatre content on YouTube, so if you like that kind of thing, then please do subscribe. So I think Ryan Murphy is wonderful at directing musical numbers. I've talked about it a lot on this channel. You all know that I love Glee. I'm a big fan of American Horror Story, the O.J. Simpson thing. I watched Pose all the way through 3 times last year, and I think that he shoots things really beautifully. The cinematography is just great, and I really felt like that was lacking in this film. I didn't really feel like it was a Ryan Murphy project. I don't know if it was maybe too rushed or it was the editing. It didn't kind of excite me visually. Like, the lighting in this film is so weird. I've never been a person to really pay attention to lighting in films particularly. The lighting in this film is so strange. Like, in the first song, there's a lot of this pink and green and purple and blue lighting, which is like the full colours of like the poster. But then in probably 80% of the musical numbers, they then put this like purple wash over everything, or a pink wash, and it just doesn't look nice. Nobody looks nice green. Do you know what I mean? This isn't Shrek. It makes no sense. And I feel like it's supposed to be this, are we in a dream sequence? Are we not in a dream sequence? There seems to be no kind of clarity as to when something is a dream sequence and it's covered in a pink light, or when it's just everybody singing and dancing and it's normal lighting. So that bothered me. And it just didn't feel like a Ryan Murphy thing. I do think that the editing is potentially where a lot of the issues come from, because I feel like there's a lot of kind of staple Ryan Murphy shots when people are dancing and stuff, and it's just all put together weirdly, so I don't know. Generally, I thought that it was like too long as well. As I was saying about the show, I think there's a lot of stuff that could be cut out, like the ladies improving, we look to you, like the whole Dee Dee and the head teacher thing. I know it's supposed to be he kind of shames her or shows her that she's too big-headed and wrapped up in her own world, and he kind of helps her on her redemption story, but I just don't think it's kind of necessary. I wasn't interested in it in the musical, and I wasn't in the film either. So for me, it'd be cut that out, please. I loved the choreography. I know that Casey Nicholaw, who directed and choreographed the original show, also choreographed film, and I think that you can see that. I really like his choreography style. I know a lot of people think it's really over the top, but I quite like it. So I was a big fan of that. There was some very odd things in this film, like about the direction thing. Just Breathe, Emma's like first song in the show. They have her in like a swimming lesson where she's just randomly swimming, and then the next moment she's in like a dodgeball class. You can't tell me that the man who brought us We Found Love with the Glee Club doing that number in the swimming pool, Artie yeeting himself and his wheelchair into the swimming pool, you're telling me that that same person who gave us that is giving us this girl just swimming the backstroke, looking at the camera, singing. There was no reason for her to be in a swimming pool. There wasn't any synchronized swimming. She wasn't even swimming in time with the other girls. It was just like a strange thing. I don't know. I feel like they were just like, she should be in a swimming pool. Why? And then the dodgeball thing. It's like, why is she standing up against a wall? And then everybody's throwing balls at her and she's singing this like very sweet part of the song while she's being pelted with balls. I don't know, just the whole thing, weird. Very weird to me. Now talking about Emma. So she's played by Joellen Pellman. She's just graduated college and this is her first big role. And I think she's got a lovely voice and I think that she's got a really bright face. You really want to like her. I feel like they made Emma in this film really simple. I don't look at her and say she's a girl who is going to fight her school so she can go to the prom. I just don't buy it. She has no kind of real agency about herself, and she's in the school meeting or whatever where they're talking about the prom. All the Broadway stars come in and they do It's Not About Me, and she's just stood there the whole time like, I feel like she is the emoji that's just like, do you know what I mean? I don't know if it's a direction thing. I just didn't believe her enough. The whole like Barry, you know, taking her to the mall to get her an outfit for the prom. She tries on these high heels and you see her like walking out of frame like, come on. It's such an overdone thing. It's like, oh my god, she can't walk in heels. It's so over the top. I don't know, like, ugh. You know? But Alyssa, I really loved Alyssa, played by Ariane DeBose, who I adore. She's wonderful. She's a Broadway vet, so talented. I thought she was really, really engaging to watch. And I think that she gave a lot of variation to the character. She was very moving. I do think that she was a little bit too old to play against Emma. I think maybe if they looked a little bit more similar in age, or to be honest, I think a lot of the issue with Alyssa was her styling. Like her really long hair felt kind of like too heavy, if that makes any sense. It probably doesn't, but whatever. And her styling, it just aged her. Yeah, I didn't really feel the chemistry between them. Like You Happened, for example, is a song that I really love from the show. I listen to it all the time. It's on my playlist of like most listened to songs. I love it. So it's about the promposal situation where the kids are all saying, will you go to the prom with me? Here's my dance routine. They're doing the promposals, and then on the opposite side of the gym, we see Emma and Alyssa sat there, and it's like, girls, if you don't want anyone to know you're together, why are you sitting like holding hands across a gym where like your bullies are? So I don't feel like it's ever believable about their relationship. That is obviously where the two girls do see them and realize that they are together. But before then, the only time that we really kind of see them in their secret relationship kind of time is in the song Dance With Me. Dance with you, dance with me. I just wanna dance with you. And they're like walking around the school when it's empty, holding hands. But I don't feel like you see the chemistry between them. I'm not saying they need to be all over each other, but it more felt like a kind of platonic friendship vibe rather than like two young people in love. Throughout the whole film, really, I didn't really see them as a couple, and I wasn't really rooting for them to be together because I didn't feel like we saw them enough. And that brings me to the 4 Broadway stars. Okay, so let's start with Andrew Rannells. I thought he was wonderful. I'm a big fan of his anyway. I think he was a large character, but not over the top. He was funny. He was just great. I thought he was fantastic. No complaints. Nicole Kidman, I thought looked wonderful. I love her in Moulin Rouge. My biggest issue with Nicole Kidman is she is clearly not a dancer, which is like fine, but her character is supposed to be a chorus girl who's been in Chicago for 20 years. They do lots of these showing her like with her long legs or her arms like swishing, and it's like, you're not even giving me real Fosse arms. I don't know, and you might be like, well, who cares? I don't know, it's like, well, what's the point in doing it if you're not going to do it properly? She just doesn't move like a dancer. And even though she's doing the best that she can, she isn't a dancer and she can't fake it, which I think is a shame. Also, listen, in the song, It's Not About Me, Dee Dee Allen, Meryl Streep, is at the front, and Andrew Rannells and James Corden are doing like a little dance routine behind her. And they've got Nicole Kidman stood on a table, banging a cowbell. Now hear me out. If she she is the chorus girl. In the group of everybody there, she's the one who's like the dancer. Why wouldn't you have her doing the dance routine? I just don't. I thought it last time, I thought it this time I watched it. Why? You'd have James Corden on the table banging that cowbell. That's her whole character, basically, that she's a dancer. And then in the dance routine, you have her stood on a table. I just can't. Ugh. Now, Meryl Streep, I thought, did a very good job in this. I loved her voice. I think that she had one of the strongest voices in the film. So for me, I love Meryl Streep, but I think that sometimes when she does comedy, she's a bit over the top. I really thought that she wasn't too over the top in this. I thought that she was very believable. I just really enjoyed it. I thought she was fantastic. I've got the hiccups. Yeah, I really liked Meryl. It's Not About Me was such a good part of the film. Now, James Corden. How do I even begin to describe James Corden? So what I will say is I've never been a huge fan of James Corden, but I've never been like a anti-fan of James Corden. I like Gavin and Stacey. I thought he was okay in Into the Woods. Let's not talk about cats. But when it was announced, people were very angry about the fact that he was cast. And I always tried to say, you know, give everybody the benefit of the doubt, let me watch it in full before I kind of pass like strong judgment on it. And I found it really difficult to watch this film because of how much I didn't like James Corden in this role. So James Corden is a straight identifying man playing a very over-the-top stereotypical gay man. I don't think that only straight people should play straight roles and only gay people should play gay roles. I don't believe that. However, I do believe that the issue is in James Corden's portrayal. So the original character of Barry was written for Brooks Ashmanskas, who played the role on Broadway, and he is a very effeminate, camp gay man. And it's truthful and it's real, but when somebody else is playing that stereotype, it comes across as offensive. And when you're making jokes about your gayness and he kind of makes fun of himself, it just comes across as making fun of a gay person. If James Corden hadn't put on a kind of very sibilant S and didn't have all of the over-the-top hand movements like this, I don't think I would have that big an issue with it. It just made me feel uncomfortable. And also, his accent was pretty terrible. You know, he's English. His American accent was pretty bad a lot of the time. And I do find it difficult when there are bad accents in films. I don't know. I just don't understand why he was cast, to be completely honest. If you needed to have a famous person rather than, say, Brooks Ashmanskas playing the role again, there are so many out gay men who are American who could have played the role with truth and honesty and an authenticity that I just didn't get from James Corden. I just didn't get it. So the first time I watched the film, I have to be honest, I spent like the whole time watching him in just like, why? And I was getting like angry about it. On the second watch, I said, I'm just not gonna really try to pay attention to him. And again, he was just pulling focus all the time in a bad way. And I think it's a shame because I don't think he's untalented and I don't think that he's a bad person or anything. Nothing like that. I just don't think he was right for the role. It's a real shame because I think as well, a film that should be so positive, when people are talking about it, all they're talking about is James Corden, and I think that's a real shame. But at the same time, it's like, how? Why? It just makes no sense to me. It just makes no sense to me. I also have to say about the styling again. Emma is a very well styled femme lesbian. She dresses very well, I think. You know, she's got the boiler suits, she's got personal style, and she's like, oh, to the prom, I'm gonna wear a vintage suit. And he's like, oh my god, no, absolutely not. And then she comes out in that dress, which is giving me such 2020 cottagecore lesbian vibes. And he's like, oh god, throw that dress away, it's awful. And then he puts her in the most generic, average, basic, stupid dress that she clearly feels uncomfortable in. And this whole thing is like, oh, Barry's such a style icon. I'm sorry, but why would this lesbian who is dressed in a beautiful double denim outfit with like this fantastic flower print on the back, why would she trust a man in an oversized cardigan with a little crossbody bright green bag? I'm sorry. Make it make sense. She already has style. She ends up in a suit anyway. What's such a shame is I think that it had the potential to be such a great film. And I think the last 15 minutes are great. I loved the last 15 minutes. I love Unruly Heart. I loved the prom when they were all singing and dancing and it was great. And I was like, yes, this is what I love. And you finish the film, it was very heartwarming. I loved that. I just had to have 2 hours before that of Meryl Streep and James Corden moaning all the time. I don't know if a lot of people will get to the end. With Netflix, it's something that, you know, you've not paid for the ticket at the cinema or the theatre, so you can just click off it. And I think maybe some people won't get to the end and just write it off as just a badly acted, over-the-top musical, which it's so much more than. And I think, you know, the fact that it's a film about two young girls in love standing up for what they believe in and standing up for who they are and who they love is so important. And to have that on something like Netflix with massive stars in it like Meryl Streep, it has so much more accessibility for so many people, and so many people are going to see themselves in Emma and Alyssa and feel okay with their sexuality and feel okay with who they are. But it's also completely overshadowed by Meryl Streep not being a very nice character and James Corden's terrible performance. And I just think it's a shame. I have to say as well, people that I loved, Kerry Washington, I thought she did a very good job. I thought that she was really mean, and I always love a baddie, and I thought that she was just great in it. Keegan-Michael Key, I have to say, I don't like his song, but I thought he was really good as well. I thought they both were very engaging to watch, very interesting. Loved them. Big 10 out of 10 for them. Like as I was saying about, you didn't really get to see Emma and Alyssa together that much. Like, they cut out the end of You Happened and then had other bits that just took up way too much time. I think, like, why would you cut out a section of the two girls showing their relationship, but then do, like, for example, Love Thy Neighbour, love the song, I think it's great, but it goes on for ages. Do you know what I mean? Cut it in half. The lady's improving. Cut it in half. Actually give us something to establish the relationship between these two girls. Make the audience care about them and root for them, and I just don't think that that happened. And as I say, love a lot of the music, love a lot of the choreography. Overall, I think it was like, it's a fine watch. I'm being very critical of it because I do have strong opinions about it, but I don't think it's an awful film. I don't think it's like a never watch again. It's just like, it's just fine. So yeah, that is my feelings. I'm really sorry if you disagree. I just think there was a lot of things that the jigsaw didn't quite get together. I don't know if it was rushed. I just didn't love it. And I know for a lot of people, this will be the first time listening to the music and seeing a lesbian musical, and I think that's amazing. And if you have connected to it personally, I think that's wonderful, and I'm so happy for you. Lots to think about. Let me know what you think. Please don't just be mad at me though. If you disagree, that's totally fine, but please don't call me stupid or be mean. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon. Love you lots. Bye.